I've got GPS emergency beacons. I've got bear spray. I have Starlink, not for streaming, just for emergency communications, maybe a little streaming. Comfortably in the middle of nowhere, these logging roads go on forever. And even this one here, it's an old decommissioned one. That goes on way up there, and it is an off-roader's paradise. Side-by-sides, quads, sleds. Around here, it gets quite busy in the winter, but I'll keep going down the road. I think there is a spot. I put a star on it on my maps. So years ago, I must have thought it was a good camping spot. Let's see if it still is. Looks like there's a grazing lease here, and that happens on public crown land when people want to graze their cattle, and they can lease it from the government, and they put their cows out here in the middle of grizzly country for some reason. But it seems to work, and the cows will keep me company, if not scare me into thinking that they're grizzly bears every time I hear them walking through the woods. There's little kilometer mile marker things along these roads, and it's very good to take note of that, because if there is a problem and you need somebody to drag you out of the ditch or a helicopter to come find you somehow, you kind of want to know what road you're on and how far along it. That came out of a bear, for sure. There's some berries in there. It doesn't look too fresh. I don't see any footprints around it, so, it might be a day or two old, but they're in the area, and this would be a great spot. Great spot for a grizzly. Black bears are always hiding in the woods. Grizzlies don't care. They'll be out in the field. Every time I go around a corner and see a cow, I'm just sure it's a grizzly, and then I realize it's a cow. So, yeah, you might say I have a mild phobia. This'll do. This is relaxing for sure. The fire ring already here. It's right on a little creek / river / tributary. Mountains in every direction that you look. Because this is such an excellent spot, and it's a Saturday, I'm going to set up a few things here so people know I'm camping here, because I really want to explore a little more of these trails and roads and see what's out here. But yeah, a little tent and some cheap stuff out here will make it look like it's occupied. Okay, yeah, it kind of looks like somebody's camping here, so that'll give me some freedom to explore around here a little bit. And I put some inexpensive stuff in the tent, an old foamy and a pillow and stuff. That way, if a ne'er-do-well comes around and decides to take all my stuff, I am not out too much. So, with no further ado, time to hit these trails and check things out. More cows. When we were down this road about 5 years ago, I put an offline pin on my map, and I do those for spots I need to come back to. But there's no explanation of what it is, so I'm going to check it out. I think it has something to do with that mountain up ahead. Okay, it looks like I probably crossed this bridge 7 years ago, and I'm not going to do it now. It's in real rough shape. But I'll walk on it carefully. Wow, yeah. Oh boy. Crazy to think that in 7 years this bridge has deteriorated that much, but I do remember crossing over this, and the road pretty much ends after this, but I think there was a pretty good campsite up there. However, I got a pretty good one back down the road a little. Maximum 5 tons. That's rich. So that pin I put on the map is across this bridge, so I definitely want to cross it in the Suburban, I think. And I kind of want to go on foot to check it out, but it's still quite a ways, and I don't have the best hip, and it's grizzly country, and I don't want to. I was hoping to see another grizzly today, but 2 in a day would be quite rare, and I got to get back to the camp and start gathering some firewood. These logging roads, or resource roads, go on for tens of thousands of miles, all through the province, basically up every mountain. Pretty well anything you can see that they could log has been logged on these roads. They're not maintained, they're dangerous. There can be logging trucks coming. There can be bridges out of commission, as we saw. There can be trees down on the road, any number of hazards. So we're playing it safe today. I've got my emergency Starlink communications and a little handsaw and a strap if I have to pull trees out of the way, but I've got to get back to that camp and start a fire. It is pretty remote out here, but there were a couple of vehicles. It's hunting season, so I'm not surprised to see some people out here. It's a little path to the river here, and this looks like where the cows all come to drink. Just scoping here for some bear prints, and I really don't see anything that looks fresh or bear-like or concerning, but I'm expecting a few cows to startle me tonight. Before I go too far, I got my bear spray all holstered up for quick draw, because it doesn't do you any good if it's in the back of your car, where it was until just a second ago. So I got that. I have my cell phone, which works with the Starlink for Wi-Fi calling. If I get too far from the car, I got this SOS emergency satellite thing, which will send the troops. This is the type that sends search and rescue. So you really don't want to push that for a flat tire, or you're going to have a very expensive bill showing up in the mail. And with the Starlink, I can make calls to either friends, texts. You know, I suppose I could send texts with this as well, except I much prefer having somebody on the phone. I can explain the circumstances. Anyway, let's get some firewood. Down the road a little bit, there was some pretty good pieces I don't even need my saw for. When it looks like you got enough firewood, triple it. On the search for firewood, this area has been cleared, and I don't know why. It's like a straight row there, and it also continues going that way. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm glad they cut these down. Makes scavenging a little bit easier. This wood is very wet / slimy and rotten. Woo. This campsite is really basic and, of course, free, because this is on public crown land, which is absolutely a wonderful resource. I have no idea what river this is, but it seems that the cows also come down this way. Should be ample firewood for tonight. Just have to be sure not to put too much on and burn it too quickly. And down here, I think there's a little bit of an outhouse situation. Aha. That'll work. That'll work great. So it seems to be a pretty popular place to come in the summer, but I'm the only guy camping in October. Well, this place is refreshingly clean. People really seem to clean up after themselves here. And I know they come out here because there's another toilet. I'll let you make your own jokes about that. And yeah, ta-da! I spoke too soon. Oh, there's a spider on it too. Well, you're coming home with me, Spidey. Getting a little bit of a fire started will give me a little more courage. I know it doesn't really scare any wildlife away, but mentally it helps, that's for sure. Now that is going nicely, and I did have to take a little time off health-wise. I really messed up my shoulder. I don't know what it is, but it's getting better. It was crawling through the back of that truck in that stealth camping video, and I don't know if it's a rotator cuff or what it is, but it's getting better. You know, this one I can, you know, move around. This one, that's about as high as I can raise that. So, but taking it a little easy, I can't even sleep on this one side. And a compound fact, I got a vitamin deficiency. Little public service announcement for those who don't know. If you take antacid pills like Proton Pump or H2, whatever they are, for a long time, you get a B12 deficiency, magnesium. It really affects stuff. So no energy, you feel like you're dying, all that great stuff. And I was originally prescribed by a doctor these antacid things, and I asked, don't I need my stomach acid to get the nutrients out of the food? And he said, nah. So I said, okay, it seems weird it would be there. But anyway, so I took these prescriptions. Then I found there's the same thing, except a little bit weaker, available over the counter. And because I travel so much, I just was grabbing them off the counter. And you're not supposed to take these for years. And yeah, so I'm on this huge regimen of vitamins, and it's really kicking things up. Of course, compounded also with stress and all the loss over the last little while. And hardly eating. And step 2 doesn't help as well. So I've been really taming that down quite a bit. So, got a good bed of coals here, and we got these big logs. They're just about ready to go on. I got one of these little saws, these bow saws. I don't know if any of you have actually used these, but yeah, not with this shoulder. Even with a good shoulder, not gonna happen. I prefer the method where I lay them on top and wait for them to burn in half. So that's what's gonna happen here. Let nature do the splitting for me. This logging road I'm on used to continue on the other side. They got all these crushed big rocks there, either side of where the bridge was to shore it up from erosion. And I am pretty curious where that goes. There's a big mountain / glacier thing up there. And I bet it goes all the way up there. Everywhere has been logged, basically, everywhere. Even that mountain right behind the campsite here, they've started to log that. And I can't imagine doing that job. Even driving on that road, I would not do. But they're like going down the side of it, like with heavy machinery, feller bunchers, actually taking all the logs out of there. What gives me a sense of security out here is the CarLink thing. It's just a Starlink Gen 3. I have these suction cup roof racks, and I've attached it with zip ties, tape, I put a little foam underneath so it wouldn't bang up the paint. But yeah, it's on there. All the guts of it behind the driver's seat here. I have one of these 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate batteries. The guts of the Starlink and the router are tucked in there. And I have my power inverter there. And I can see it is drawing a paltry 30 to 50 watts. Because I don't like drilling holes in my car or pinching this cable, I just have it with this Gorilla Tape, this clear Gorilla Tape. It's not going to wreck the paint. I checked. I hope. So that's that setup. I have a tent over there, but I've seen Grizzly Man, and that probably gave me whatever type of a phobia it is I have. I'm sure I'd be fine. However, I have a car, so I'm going to put stuff from in the car into the tent and hunker down in here tonight. This is pretty much the best campsite I've ever found. And yes, despite that vitamin thing that I've got like one of those pill organizers pretty much to keep track of them all, I'm going to enjoy. So, step 2, cheers to moderation. Look at this. Didn't have to chop any logs. Fire did the work for me. These were all burned halves. And get these on because I got to make some dinner. This fire's going to be ready to cook on real soon, and I'm going to make some pizza on a stick things. The joy of trying new things for the first time on video is I don't know if it's going to work, but I got backup hot dogs just in case. Essentially, it's like Pillsbury pizza dough wrapped around a stick with pizza toppings, and you try to cook it that way. I don't know. They didn't have the pizza dough, so I'm using the crescent roll jumbo things. Let's see. All right. So on the stick, I got a chunk of pepperoni, some vegetables, and a chunk of matzah. And I'm going to try to encase this in this stuff, and hopefully it'll work. It's just this easy to eat when you're camping. And I have pizza sauce to dip it in too. It looks horrible. Let's see what happens. I didn't even go crazy with the toppings. I have onions, and I just put one chunk of matzah in there. I don't know, it held together okay. Not bad. The cheese pretty much melted. Barely held together though. Yeah, that dough didn't cook either. That's not matzah. That's uncooked dough. I love cute little recipe ideas you can cook on a stick over the fire. Unfortunately, this will need a little more work before this is ready for prime time. I mean, I'll eat it, but a good idea, but it just didn't work the way it looks on Instagram. Nothing beats a good campfire, the smell of the trees and the mountains. Just warming up the car, and I'm crawling in to go to bed. And hopefully get up fairly early in the morning. So see you guys in the AM. Good morning. Decent sleep. For the sake of my shoulder, I just crawled into the front seat, and it reclines actually pretty far back. So RAV4 is a good option for that. I've had some where the chair just barely reclines, but if every airplane seat reclined like this, you can sleep on the plane all day long. But I'm gonna get up. Not what you really expect to see in this setting. Now I'm excited to hit the back roads again and just see what we can see if there's a bear out there somewhere for me to look at. Seen enough cows for the day. These back mountain logging roads are such a treasure. I could explore these for the rest of my life. Never see a fraction of it. But the places I do see down these roads are phenomenal. Kind of skunked there, didn't see any more bears. Actually, the only wildlife today on the drive around was the grouse on the side of the road. So just here by a little creek, beautiful Mount Creek. And I'm going to be heading across the country. Been getting ready for that. As people will know or may know, that my mom had passed away last year. And our family had the house for sale for a while, but we've decided to keep the house in the family. So I'm going to drive out and check it out, get to see the country, hopefully find a lot more cool things along the way. Because when I'm in one area, kind of around the acreage, I've done all the stealth camping, anything cool, I've done it. So I got to hit the road and find more cool spots. And here's a little bit of a cool spot. Just down these little roads, you don't have any idea. Like sometimes you'll see a trail that gives you a good idea. There's something good that you got to go look at. And yeah, so right across the country, out to the East Coast, beginning in a few days here. Thanks for following along. And yeah, my health is improving, guys. So I have my energy back. For those who have had a vitamin B12 deficiency, or magnesium deficiencies, you feel like you're dying, you got no energy at all. The anxiety gets real bad too, heart palpitations. It's a whole list of really bad stuff to go through. So, you know, I'd always thought vitamins are such a scam because North American diet, everything's pretty much enriched, right? Your flour's got, you know, niacin or whatever in it. And I thought, the days of scurvy are long gone where people can actually get a vitamin deficiency, but it's serious business. Eat your vitamins, and can't wait to bring you guys along in this adventure. Cheers. Okay, there was a bear. I spoke too soon.
The world's most powerful milkshake presents the Shake Power Workout. Ready? Explode and return. Explode and return.